Thank you for clicking on the video. Welcome back to the channel. This is another review for American Horror Stories, Season 2, Episode 4, Milkmaids. We are in New England. It's 1757, and there's a woman on her deathbed. She ends up dying, and apparently all the women in the town are dying. They're all perishing from whatever this disease is. Right now, we don't know what it is. Then we see that there's this woman. Her name is Celeste, and she has this man at her house, and he has come and he pays her little coins for the sex. And so she's a prostitute, and they getting it in or whatever, and she pulls down her shirt a little bit, and she got boils all over. And so he jumps up, thinking she's a wretched woman. And she's like, I'm not contagious, listen, my wounds got healing properties. One lick of the pus one lick of the pus from her boils, and you'll be healed, says Saint Lazarus. And he looked at her like, bitch, what? And she's like, she's trying to reassure him that not only can she heal him and his, and keep the disease away from him, she's been able to do that for the rest of the men in town as well. Not only is she a prostitute, but she's been giving up the healing. And so she walks over to him, and she get to squeezing the pus out her boil, and it's on her finger. Y'all, I was so grossed out because she takes it and then puts it in his mouth, and he kind of like savors it a little bit. And I was like, y'all done took it too far, because that's nasty as fuck. That was so gross. That was gross. But anyway, she take the puss and put it in his mouth or whatever, and she leaves him with that, think I don't know whether he believed it or whatever, but after that, I think he gets angry, because I was trying to remember, y'all, but let me refer back to the notes. Oh yeah, he immediately throws up. I knew he wasn't he wasn't with that, but anyway, he immediately throws up and calls her, a sorcerer and all of that. So now she's a witch, and she says that she knows who he is. He the pastor. And because his wig done came off and everything. He's like, he ain't he doesn't deny it, but he just automatically slaps her once she realizes who he is. And because she calls his church a blasphemous church and all of that. And then he slaps her, and of course now a fight ensues, and they in there tussling. And then he tells her that if she tells anybody, that he'll see to it that she's hanged. So you already know, the pastor say somebody a witch, the whole town they gonna jump on that. At the funeral for the lady that passed, the pastor up there telling the pulpit, talking about sin and all of that, and Celeste busts through the door like, you're talking about sin? Not you. And then she tells the congregation that he's a hypocrite, and she tells the church what he did. And he's telling them, well, no, I only visited her. I only went to visit her because she's a wretched, diseased woman. She's a whore. And I went over there to pray for her. And then somebody in the congregation pick up a Bible and say, shoo, 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 boom, hit her right in the forehead, y'all. The laugh I got from it, I probably shouldn't have laughed the way that I laughed. But it was something about seeing that man get up and throw that Bible at that lady's head like that. Like, you are crazy. Why are you throwing anything at this woman? It just amazes me how in those times how stupid the people were. Like, they would just literally jump on any old thing. Witch, sorcerer, please. Please. Anyway, she tells the church that she's the daughter of Lazarus, and she got the statue with her. And that God sent her to warn them about their preacher, She says that he will rain down a new era of death and destruction if y'all let him. If y'all don't get out from under this pastor who really ain't pastoring like he should. Then pastor says that she's no daughter of Lazarus. She's the daughter of Satan himself. And she's the reason for the plague and all of that. And then everybody starts tugging and pulling on her. And they're about to try to hang her. And, but they take her and they throw her down the stairs, to go into the church. And she breaks an arm. Whole bone just come cracked out of the skin. And then the man whose wife died, he and his son are sitting on the front row. And he's just like, enough. I will not have y'all doing all this at my wife's funeral. This ain't finna be, y'all ain't finna, dirty up my wife's funeral with a hanging. We not doing that. We will not be doing that today. After church, pastor has to have a word with the man. His name is Thomas. He has to have a word with Thomas. Don't ever try to check me in front of my congregation again. Okay, let's just get that straight. As long as we good on that, we good. And pastor thinks that prayer is going to fix everything. And Thomas is like, well, I think I might have another idea. He found out that there's this ritual that you can do over in another town. They were plagued with the same situation. And he tells them about the story. They thought that it was due to the dead, because the dead, maybe they were rising and feasting on the people. And that's why the people had boils all over them. The dead they weren't decomposing at the rate that they should have been. And so that they had to be possessed. It had to be the devil in them. And so they were exhuming the bodies, cutting out the hearts. And I think that's where it started and stopped. They just cut out the hearts. I don't know. They weren't, oh no, he says, well, will doing this, will that cure people who may have been exposed? And he says, maybe if you consume it. And so then pastor and him, they come up with the idea of cannibalism. We just gonna exhume the people. So he wants to exhume his wife. He wants to exhume his wife's body, get her heart, eat it, call it a day. And everybody will be saved. And then they're doing all of this, making all these plans, and they think they're alone, but somebody is outside the door listening. Somebody being Edward. No, yeah, that's his name, Edward. Yeah, I think that's his name. Anyway, he out there listening. That's Thomas's son. I said, y'all, how can he hear through the door? It's like it's the opening, because it was a cross and he was just looking through it. So I'm like, were y'all talking loud enough for him to hear? Because it was very, monotone, low for me. I wouldn't think you would be able to hear that conversation through a door, but he was standing right there, listening right on in. So they've exhumed the lady's body. And pastor, he prays first. And then he gives the knife to Thomas to cut the lady open. And he gets squeamish and can't do it. So pastor just does it himself. He pulls the heart out. And this is when he asks if this will also cure the people already infected. And Thomas is like, well, I guess, burning it. Oh, that's what it was. That's the detail I missed. Sorry about that, y'all. In the story, he said that when they took the heart out, that they burned it. Then when they got to this scenario where they have cut open this lady's body and took her heart, now pastor is asking, well, will doing this help people cured? Will doing this help people expose? And he's like, well, maybe if you consume it. And so before Thomas can even get the explanation out, pastor done already took a bite out of that lady's heart. And Thomas is like, and he tried to offer it up to him. Thomas like, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. We will not be doing that. The next day, though, we see that he's cooked the heart and tried to give it to his son. His son's sitting up there looking at him like, this don't look like mama's stew. This don't look like my mama's live-in onions. This don't look like what my mama be cooking. He like, go ahead and eat it. Then there's a knock at the door. And it's the milkmaid. And she's there. Her name is Delilah. She's a friend of his. She coming to deliver the milk or whatever. He said something about church. And, of course, she ain't been around into the church. Because for whatever reason, pastor got something against milkmaids. I'm just like, what? That's stupid. Thomas's son asks if it's true that she's danced under the moon with the devil. And of course, so that means she's been excommunicated. And I'm like, damn, excommunicated. She's unmarried, so that's against her. She a milkmaid, so that's against her. Anyway, while they're talking, the son, the boy Edward, he down there feeding the heart to the cat. I'm like, ooh. When she leaves, Edward starts quoting the pastor and all of that. So he's been indoctrined for sure. He's just like, pastors say we can't trust the milkmaid, you know. Unclean women live with beasts, you know, that you can't trust her. She providing a service and you talking about she's an unclean woman living with a beast, you can't trust her. I mean, just completely delusional. and gonna use religion and all of that behind it. You're crazy. You're crazy. Anyway, Thomas don't like that. He don't like that kind of talk. Don't be talking like that. He ain't gonna hear none of that. Don't be talking like that around here. Thomas can't do nothing. Delilah gets back to her house and then she finds Celeste laid up in her stable. You know, she's badly injured, you know, that arm is broke. And Delilah helps her out. You know, she gets her in the house and distracts her. You know, I mean, she's talking to her and whatever, and she distracts her by, you know, showing her a book. The whole time she's mending her wounds or whatever, and then she like cracks that arm back in press that arm back in socket or back in place or whatever. And Delilah takes good care of her. It's almost like before doctors, she was a doctor. You know, she is smart. Delilah is smart. She's very smart. She is a scientist, if you will. You know, like she's a doctor by profession. If we were to give her a profession other than being a milkmaid, it would be nurse, it would be doctor, it would be something in the medical field, especially in today's society with all the vast knowledge she had in all things medical field. She asked who did that to her and all of that, and she's ready to go door to door behind her. She's like, listen, I'll go door to door to see what it was, who it was. You just let me know. Give me a name. Of course, Celeste doesn't want to say any name. She just says that he's a powerful man. And she already know. Oh, man of the cloth. Oh, okay, I already know who that is. It was Pastor Walter is his name. No, yeah, Pastor Walter. She tells her, Celeste tells her that he had threatened her to, you know, that he was going to hang her if she came back round there. So that's why she's running. And Delilah tells her that she has to stay there until she's completely healed, until every scratch and bruises off of that beautiful face. She flirting. She was flirting hard. I said, oh, okay, so we're dealing with a lesbian. She's a lesbian. Okay, girl. All right. Before we gave it a name, that's what it was for her. She already knew she liked some Celeste. She's telling her how beautiful she is and all of that. I was like, girl, okay, girl. All right, girl. Because it's looking like Celeste might be down, so keep talking. Thomas and Edward, they visit his mother's grave, and he's out there, and Thomas is telling him it's okay if you can't cry. Y'all, and just as I was reading the notes, it made me think about something that he said. How this was a mental health situation unchecked, and you know, something that they wouldn't be knowledgeable about. The parallels in this episode between real life and now, especially with the knowledge that we have now about mental health, about diseases, about all of that, it's showing how far we've come. It really does make you think about it and put everything into perspective, because the little boy is obviously some type of sociopath or psychopath, and Thomas knew there's someone right with his son. We're gonna get there. I guess I'll come back round full circle when we get to that part. But anyway, he tells him it's okay that he doesn't cry. And Edward is asking, okay, well, how will they know if I love them if I don't cry? Which shows me you are mimicking emotion and trying to portray something. You know, like it's like, well, if I don't cry, because I don't think he can have that type of emotion. I don't think he can muster it up. I really think he's a psychopath, y'all. He can't have no emotion. And so it's like, well, if I don't pretend to have the emotion, if I don't at least cry, how will they know that I love them? A psychopath would say something like that because they're pretending to love, like all of that, laugh, all of that. They're pretending they can mirror what, somebody else's emotional stance is on whatever it is, because I don't think they can't feel it. They can't feel it. But anyway, and I might be going completely left. And if I am, reel me back in. Okay. But anyway, pastor comes walking by, quoting the scripture and all of that. And he's asking about, how you feeling, Thomas? How your health? I'm feeling good. Tip top shape. I ain't never felt so alive. I ain't never felt better. And then he questions, Thomas about not being at the church. I ain't seen you around church in a minute. And he asks if you've been taking part in the communion. And no, he asked if Edward took part in the communion. And he like, Edward, go home. No, I didn't feed my son his mother's heart. No, I ain't do that. Thomas feels like it's horrendous, and he regrets even bringing the idea to him. It's only, that idea was brought on by grief and all of that. So he really wasn't thinking straight when he brought that to the pastor in the first place. And pastor's like, nah, this was it. This was just fine. Pastor is just fine with the ritual. He pulled out somebody else's heart. Just pull it out of the paper towel and just get the munching on it. Thomas is looking at him like, he done created a monster. That you did. That you did. Pastor talking about he want to tell the people the truth. God has revealed to him the cure. This is it. This is the cure. Thomas is, he shouldn't have told him nothing. He shouldn't have told him nothing. Because now this man already a zealot. Already just completely like too radical. Like, be radical for Jesus, okay? But like this, no. Not like this. This ain't what he was talking about. This ain't what he was talking about at all. Celeste, y'all, she was in there popping them boils again. I'm like, y'all doing too much, because she popped one on her side and that pus just skeeted out. I was like, I really want y'all to stop. I really want y'all to stop. I know that there are people out there who like pimple popping and seeing that kind of stuff. No, thank you. I'm one of the ones that don't want to see none of that. Okay, I can get the image without you showing me. I really could have just got the image in my head. Oh, she popping pimples without y'all showing me that that's what she doing. It was gross. But anyway, Delilah comes in and sees her and is like, girl, you got the smallpox. You got the smallpox, girl. You need to isolate. We're going to have to isolate you. And Celeste is like, she wants to keep her boils fresh because she tells her that the corset that she's wearing is making it worse. It's rubbing up against it. It's making it's irritating her, worse. And she's saying she wants the boils to be irritated and fresh so she can pop them and bust them for the men folk when they come around there. Celeste starts talking that Saint Lazarus talk. And she starts to tell her who she really is. She tells her a backstory. She was a milkmaid at one point, and she ended up getting the smallpox, and she didn't really get sick. And so she met this man who didn't see the boils. He didn't know about the boils. And then she gets pregnant, and that's when he sees. She got too big, I guess, to hide it. And so he saw the boils. And after she had that baby and all of that, he took that baby and left because she's unclean. She's a wretched woman, all that. I said, no, he didn't. The men, though, however, in the town, they ain't had no problem with her boils. They loved her boils because, again, healing properties. That's what she's telling the folk. And so she's saying that God put her on this earth, to heal the people with love. And Delilah is like, love doesn't heal. Science does. Girl, now I'm going to stop you there. Because what we're not going to do is debunk anything like that. Because, yes, it absolutely does heal. Thank you very much. I don't know what the hell she talking about. I was like, lies you tell, girl. Anyway, Celeste says that science is a gift from God. And so God is love, and there you have it. I'm with you. I'm with you, Celeste. I'm with you when you're right. Delilah is like, nah, let's just see what's in the boil so that we can, isolate it, reproduce it, and get the folks healed. We can sell this on the market. So the people won't be sick. And Celeste is like, divinity cannot be reproduced. It just has to be appreciated. Delilah tells her that she admires her faith, but girl, we're going to get to the bottom of this. I don't know what you're talking about. Then we see pastors at the church about to tell the people, the story that Thomas told him about that other town and what they dealt with and them digging up bodies and cutting out the hearts and all of that. Excuse me. The congregation, you already know, they are diehard. And so they hanging on every word. Excuse me. Thomas, however, he's just sitting in the, cause he back at church. And so he's sitting in the front row, just rolling his eyes. He just can't do nothing. Like, you created this. So yeah, sit in it. The congregation, they ready. Let me go get my shovel. I'm ready. I'm ready to start digging. We see Delilah. She's busy doing research. And, Celeste, she's just talking to her about God. And, it's like, why is it so hard for you to have faith and believe in God? And she tells her that God is the unknown, and soon scientists will find out more and debunk more. And then where will God be? Girl, on the throne. I was getting mad, y'all. It was like, that's one thing that I don't understand about atheists. Okay, cool. You believe in this is science. Cool. That's cute for you. Don't come over here telling me I'm weird and crazy and all of that and trying to debunk who God is. Because, girl, explain your existence, bitch. Explain it. Explain the trees and the ocean. Where it came from, girl. Who put it there, girl? Anyway, let me get hopping down off the soapbox. Let me get down, because we could go on and on and on with the science versus God situation, because y'all ain't about to do that. Not my God. Not my Jesus. Nope. Anyway, she says that if you are a true healer, let me see for myself, and she starts untying her little corset and all of that. And Celeste ain't pushing her away. She's down. And they think they all alone, because they finna get down. But not alone once again. You know who watching? Edward. And Daddy said something ain't right about Edward, and we are seeing it. We are seeing it. And now that I'm reviewing it, it's like, dang, he was right. I ain't even pay attention to little Edward being a creep, being a whole psychopath. Next, we see the whole town. They got their shovels. They got their stuff. They going out with their lanterns. They finna head to the cemetery. We see Celeste and Delilah. They laid up, after everything. And Celeste is, she's very religious. And, she still feel like all of this is God's will. All of this. It's God's will for her to be laid up having sex with the lady. Girl, how can you still be religious and you just had sex with a woman? Now you know. The religious folks have told you that what you just did ain't what you was supposed to be just doing. And so you don't get to lay up all on her chest spewing the Bible. Come on now, Celeste. Anyway, Delilah gets up and she's checking her milk supply and all of that. She finna go head out. And she sees one of the jars got a little blood in it. Once again, gross. So let's come over there. Oh, it's okay if it's a little blood in it. Delilah like, nah, that's contaminated. We're not gonna sell that. So let's ain't see no issues. I'm like, girl, that's nasty. Anyway, Delilah then schools her on bacterial infections. It's like, she's a doctor. Once again, she's putting herself through medical school and don't even know it. Celeste, she gonna say to her, well, it didn't seem like you was worried about no bacterial infections when we was doing what we was doing last night. Because, for whatever reason, the late Delilah got to sucking on the boils too. And I'm just, all of y'all are nasty. Just nasty. Anyway, Delilah starts to, she gonna crack the case, okay? And so she says that the boils are very similar to the boils that her cow got just a little while ago. And so she looks and she says they're perfectly round. On the smallpox, it's more like a fungus. It's more like an erratic kind of rash. And so she thinks that she has cowpox, like the cow has. And humans aren't affected by cowpox like that. It's not detrimental to us. And so she says that, all the milk she's been selling, if it has that, cowpox in it, then they've all had both. They've had the cowpox and it's came and gone or whatever. And it's possible that because of the cowpox that they're immune to smallpox. I said, again, come on, Dr. Delilah. Nurse Delilah. No, she Dr. Delilah, okay? MD, okay? Because cracking the case, doing the research, that's what I'm talking about. Now, I'm with her on that because she definitely had this whole thing figured out. The contaminated milk, she feels like is the cure, so she has to get that out to the people. She got to make some more as well, so she has to stay and milk the cow some more. She's like, if the udders bleed, cool, but go ahead and get that milk supply, and she gonna go out and test her theory. So they're gonna save the world from smallpox, from smallpox. When she leaves, Celeste, she's sitting over there talking to her Saint Lazarus child. What say you? Were you really resurrected or were you faking it too? Yes, girl, both you and your Saint Lazarus statue are on. Girl, you was on BS and you know it. So just please. Enough with Saint Lazarus. Pastor got the whole cemetery down there. That's the whole cemetery. He got the whole town down there to the cemetery. And they ready to dig up everybody, Delilah, she ends up making it to Thomas's house. He's not home. Edward is there. And he's home alone, and Thomas is at the cemetery with the rest of the folk. He tells her about the ritual, and Delilah, she feels like it's absurd. She feels like, the milk is the cure, and it's not in what y'all got going on. Edward, of course, starts talking like the pastor. It's like, again, something is off about this little boy. But anyway, he says that only the weak get sick. If he gets sick, it'll only be the weak. And he's talking about how strong he is and all of that. And Delilah's like, nah, but if you're sick, you can pass it to somebody else. So drink this goddamn milk. Drink the milk. Drink the goddamn milk, boy. Because he going to try to, we finna have to force it down your throat now, little boy. At the cemetery, the whole town out there digging everybody up. They just digging folks up, cutting out hearts and eating. And Delilah's like, what y'all doing? Y'all gonna get sick. This is gross. This is barbaric. This is too much. And, they're saying to her that the people they're not decomposing. So it has to be, and she's like, the soil, we own the water. It's the salt. That's what's keeping the bodies from decomposing. Scientists. Miss Dr. Delilah, once again, she the smartest person in town. The smartest person in town. Pastor walks up and he's trying to debunk the facts, with his religious jargon. And Delilah tells him about the milk and that it has the healing properties and all of that. And then Pastor, of course, still on his bullshit. He ain't listening. Delilah tells Thomas what he did to Celeste. And he's like, Celeste, is she okay? Pastor calling her a slut and all of that. Delilah is telling him that every healthy man in his town is healthy because of her. Like, stop this madness. Y'all out here doing too much. And he says, okay, I will. And punches her in the face like, boop. And of course, her head go back. Knocks her out. Knocks her straight out. Talking about if only Adam had struck Eve, we'd still be in the Garden of Eden. It's folk that really feel like that today. Anyway, he proceeds to go and try to find Celeste so he can take care of her too. Um, Thomas doesn't want him to hurt Celeste, He tells him that he's Edward's real mother. So they the family, he the man that left her high and dry and took the baby. So now we side-eyeing Thomas like, oh, that's what you did? Oh, okay. And then took up a new wife and had some more kids. Just left her. Then your other wife got it and died. Now what? Was she unclean and wretched too? Child. Anyway. He gets to the house or whatever, and Thomas is standing at the door trying to stop him from doing that. And he's, telling him that, after he tells him, Edward, that's Edward's mama, and I'm the reason that she turned to a life of sin. It was me, blah, 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 pushed her in that direction. And Thomas ain't moving. And that man just pulled a knife and shoot, right up in the ear. No, I think he got him in the stomach. Because if he got him in the chest, Thomas wouldn't have been able to get up. And he does end up getting back up. But he stabs him and pushes him on down. Meanwhile, the town's still digging up the people and cutting out their hearts. Anyway, Pastor, he rolls up on Celeste. And he threatening her life. And he starts ripping off her clothes and tries to rape her. Talking about, I'm going to just take this right quick before I send you on your way, before he kill her. Anyway, so he thought, because out of nowhere comes Delilah, and she stabs him in the back, and she spins him around, and then Celeste takes the knife, and she stabs him in the chest. So they both tag team his ass. And when she and Delilah, are, celebrating and they kissing, Thomas is in the doorway like, Celeste? What? He cannot believe it. He's shocked. He's like, now Delilah, thought you were my friend. You a wicked woman. You done seduced her to lust as she lusts. Celeste is like, boy, I've been like this. You just didn't take the time to know. She said she took care of me when nobody else. When you dropped me like a bad habit, she took care of me. So there. So don't be telling me who to love. And Thomas, he gonna have the nerve to blame Celeste for the demise of the town, of their son, and that Edward is full of sin and that he inherited her wicked ways. And so here we are, guys. Remember when I said we was gonna dive into something? So right quick. I know I've had you on the line a minute, but right quick. That's what tells me that there might have been some type of mental illness there. Not to say, the little boy is gay like his mama, but he don't understand why that child doesn't have any emotional connection to anybody. And so he's feeling like, well, that got to be from you because you gay, so that got to be it. The 2 and 2 got to coincide. No, Thomas, that boy is a psychopath. Separate situation. And your wife might be bisexual, and if y'all were living in today's times, all of this would be understood. But here we are. Okay, back to the review. So he gets the knife and he lunges at Celeste, and Delilah steps in the way and she gets stabbed. I said, oh, Delilah. Dr. Delilah, girl. Anyway. Celeste picks up this shovel and she's like, you murderer! And boing, boing, on him right in the forehead and knocks him out. And Delilah, of course, is over there and she's telling her, you take the cure. She's laying there dying, of course. She tells her, you take the cure and you tell everyone. And then she just, of course, dies right there. Poor Celeste, that was her baby. In just that short amount of time, they was in love, okay? Celeste, she gets the cow and then she burns that house down with everything in it and leaves. She heads to Thomas's house, to get her baby. Edward's in there and he waiting on Thomas. She got to tell him your daddy died, but I'm your real mama, come with me and all of that. And he hugs her, but he don't mean it. He asks her, are you a milkmaid? And she says, well, I guess now I am, huh? He take a knife, shoot, right in the side, right in the gut. and says, nothing is as unclean as a woman who lives with beasts. It was too good to be true. It was too good to be true, because on American Horror Stories, ain't no happy endings. Ain't no happy endings. Don't expect for good to prevail, because over here on American Horror Stories, they just be letting evil prevail. I don't know why. It was like, damn, I thought she was going to take the boy and they was going to ride out in the sunset. No, not so. Not so. He said, I'm telling y'all, that boy was a psychopath. Whole time. Whole time. He finna be just like that pastor. Anyway, that was it, guys. Be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It's Call Me Busby, and I'll chat with you later. Peace and light.